Hello and welcome to the visual edition of the Backstage podcast, bringing you all the latest news and interviews from the world of TV and film. I'm Katie Spencer and I'm joined by Claire Gregory, the entertainment reporter for Sky News, and all the way from New York, Stevie Wong, TV and film reviewer.
Hello.
Coming up on this week's show.
If you miss a line in the game, you reset. You miss it on the track, you could die.
I'll let you two talk while I go over here and pretend not to listen.
Irony. Is that irony? I'm never sure.
It's opening night, and a big star drops dead on stage.
Oh my God, my leading man is dead. Is this really happening?
Look, before we get into the shows that we're going to be reviewing this week, we need to talk box office, don't we?
Oh, yes, please.
We're still going on about Barbie and Oppenheimer because the ratings, the amount that they've got in, they're just raking in the money all over the place, aren't they? So, well, as it stands at the moment, according to the British Film Institute figures, as of the 30th of July, Barbie raked in almost £48 million, Oppenheimer 27 million. Compare and contrast to Mission Impossible, only 20 million. Does it have to be Tom Cruise right now?
It suffered Mission Impossible because of Barbie and Oppenheimer taking its screens, basically. These huge films have taken lots of the cinema screens, so it's kind of having to compete with those.
Look, Gran Turismo, though, Claire, you've been lucky enough to cover this one, haven't you? It's coming out now into cinemas. What do you think? Is that going to give everyone a run for their money?
I think it's another film that's going to get people to the cinema this summer.
Jan, all you do is play video games with some crazy dreams of racing cars.
Dad, you're the one that told us to always do something we love.
It's based on this incredible true story of a young lad who's really good at playing Gran Turismo, the game, and basically wins an opportunity to go and train as a real race car driver. And you kind of see the ups and downs of that. It's based on a true story. I'm not usually someone, I'm not a petrol head. I'm not into cars. I'm not into racing. I'm not really into gaming. But I found this, it's compelling. And David Harbour, he plays, David Harbour, of course, from Stranger Things. He plays the chief engineer. He's basically a technician who's teaching this younger driver how to race. And David Harbour talks about the huge impact of filming this on real racetracks.
I now sort of know what Tom Cruise is talking about in those Maverick interviews when he talks about it having to be real. There was a cynical piece of me when I would watch those things and I go like, it could be green screen. We wouldn't know the difference. But there's something about as a performer being in that it just heightens your performance because the stakes are real. I mean, there are cars going by you at 150 miles an hour. There's stakes to that. There's weight to that. There's risk. You could get hurt.
Do we appreciate it more, do you think, when actually filmmakers go to the extra effort? I mean, that was the case with Oppenheimer, wasn't it? They went to all the effort.
I think it looks better.
Making this huge explosion.
It does.
I think
it does look better. I think, especially in a film like Gran Turismo, we're not allowed to review it just yet because we all signed embargoes. But the experience of sitting there
is going to be 140 degrees Fahrenheit
as this kid is learning how to drive these crazy cars. It's very exciting in that sense. So I think reality is much more like kind of the realism of the experience is much more interesting than just putting it in a green screen where you're just like, oh no, I'm driving.
I'm driving a car.
And that is coming from a non-gamer, Stevie Wong, who is struggling not to give a full review there. But yeah, I think it's safe to say that actually surprisingly popular around this table. Look, Gran Turismo is out on the 11th of August. Shall we move on, though, to talking about Strange Planet, which comes out on Apple TV on August the 9th.
One jitter liquid, please.
Would you like to jitter for 1, 2, or 5 hours?
Describe your current level of activity.
90% below average.
Give me that mild poison.
1, 2, 3.
The bad moments will pass. Even the good moments will pass. That's what our existence is all about.
Wow, you licked me inside the mouth. This is disgusting. And it's perfect.
Stevie, look, tell us what this one's about. It's a bit different, isn't it?
It's definitely different. It's co-written and executive produced by Dan Harmon, who, if you're a fan of Rick and Morty, the animated series, or Community, which has a bunch of comedians in it, and also Nathan W Pyle, who wrote the best-selling graphic novel alongside Shadow Machine, who did BoJack Horseman, Toucan Birdie. So there's a lot of pedigree going on here.
It's like they're trying to basically have a little look at our own world via this kind of alien world where they use this kind of strange technical language and things like that. But it's really reflecting our own emotions, I would say.
Holding a mirror up to society, would you say, Claire?
Yeah, pretty much.
Through aliens, though.
And when I had a chat with Nathan W Pyle about Strange Planet, he really did talk about how he kind of does suspect if there is, more life out there, it probably would be quite similar to us.
I don't know if you've seen some of the latest images of deep space, but the idea to me is we really don't know who or what is out there exactly. But the imagination here in Strange Planet is certainly geared toward there probably are many beings, and they're probably more like us than we even imagine.
And Strange Planet is out on Apple TV on the 9th of August. Now, we weren't meant to talk about this. We're going to cram in very quickly a big debate. I don't know whether you've seen or not, out on the BBC at the moment is a show called Wolf. We have been talking about this on the podcast this week because it has divided us. If you've seen Wolf, if you haven't seen Wolf, I should say, why don't you take a look at this?
5 years ago, I knew that something was off.
You found something, didn't you?
2 men have taken us hostage in our home. I need to find that house. They're still out there.
You didn't really think that was it, did you?
Oh, it's so weird, Claire. It's so weird. I'm the one that just, I can't understand it. Everyone is raving about it. There's so many twists and turns and weirdness.
It's so
and dark
twisty.
and harrowing, and I don't like it, but you two are raving about it.
It's so bingeable. You just kind of, I'm so desperate to find out what's happening. And the thing is, you don't know what you don't know, because as it goes on, things twist so quickly that you realise that what you wanted to know the answer to in episode 1 is just not the question by episode 6.
Well, I quite frankly think you're both sick for liking this one. But Stevie, what is it, the baddies then that are doing it for you?
Yeah, the baddies are a lot of fun to watch in this series. But who is the baddie here? I think that's kind of the interesting thing about this show is that you're not quite sure. They present itself in episode 1, and then as the series progresses, there's enough twists to make you think twice about like who these characters are actually playing, and so I needed to find out how this thing was. I know it's showing on BBC iPlayer, and all 6 episodes was on it, and I may have seen it all. But for those of you who want to see it on a weekly basis, it is showing that on BBC One.
It's one of those things. It's worth watching just because it's been so popular.
Yeah, find out which side of the debate you come down on.
And as Stevie said, Wolf is out now on BBC iPlayer. Shall we talk about something that is a bit more of a palatable whodunit, though? In my mind, it's slightly more manageable for me, certainly. It's Only Murders in the Building. Season 3 is out on Disney+.
Murder?
Yeah, murder, yeah.
Look at this cast. They're all killers.
But who would want to kill Ben?
Maybe it was Loretta.
Please don't give up on me. I'm not good at table reads.
Storm's coming. Don't take a nut for no woman in the rocks.
She's a stinkeroonie. I say give her the bouquet.
And you might have seen from that trailer, there's a new special guest star. Stevie Wong, how exciting was it to have Meryl Streep in season 3?
I mean, just the idea that she's on the show, which already at this point has established itself as a focal point for so many like guest stars already. But to have Meryl in this, and this year there's a musical involved, and Meryl may be singing a little bit, and it is hilarious. This season, it kicks off with Ben Gilroy, played by Paul Rudd, who's an Hollywood action star whose Broadway debut is definitely cut short in the first minute of the show, and it is just who did it, and how did they bring it back to the building, because that's an interesting like twist too. And so the gang of Martin Short, Steve Martin, Selena Gomez, they're at it again, putting on their detective hats. I think it's hilarious.
I mean, with every season, it gets faintly more ridiculous that there are still more murders happening in the building.
But that doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. This is about kind of the clash between the old and the new. You've got your characters, some of whom are kind of old-timers, and Selena Gomez kind of very much representing the new. They live in this very old building, and yet, they're doing this fairly new podcast and things like that. It's a bit of fun. But my worry for this is what happens next. How do you get better than Meryl Streep and Paul Rudd as guest stars?
Tom Cruise.
Tom Cruise? Tom Cruise.
Tom Cruise. Barbie. I think that's a little bit.
Well, Only Murders in the Building Season 3 is out on August the 8th on Disney+. That's it from us for this week. If you've liked what you've watched, and if you want to hear more, we'll have more of our interviews in the Backstage podcast itself, the longer extended audio version, and you can get that by scanning the QR code on your screens or looking up your podcasts, however you normally get those. And that's it from us. Thank you, Claire. Thank you, Stevie. And we'll see you again very soon. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.